Hi there, and welcome to Position 1 Power Equipment. My name's Adrian, and today we're going to look at a bit of troubleshooting on the P6220C Chainsaw. Most problems with these chainsaws is normally down to the incorrect fuel mixture or a poor spark plug. So the first thing to do before attempting to do anything with the carburetor would be to ensure that you've got a good clean spark plug and fresh mixed fuel ready to go. So having made sure that we've got fresh fuel in here with the correct ratio of fuel to oil, a nice clean spark plug, and we're still having problems, now we're going to look at the carburetor. Now there are 3 setting screws on the carburetor which may need to be adjusted from time to time, and I'll give you a close-up of those. There are 2 mixture screws, one for low speed, one for high speed, and an idle or tick over screw. This hole here above the letter L is the idle speed, the idle tick over speed. And low and high, L and H here, refer to these 2 holes here in this black piece of plastic down here. This would be the mixture at low speed, and this hole would be the mixture at high speed. I'll just remove the assembly at the top to show you exactly what happens when you put a screwdriver in these 3 holes. I'll just pop off the cover for the air filter, remove the cover and remove the air filter so that you can see where the screwdriver goes. Okay. I've just removed the spark plug lead and cap to give you better access. So this screw here, which is the top hole of the 3, is the idle or tick over speed screw for your chainsaw. If you screw it clockwise, it will increase the tick over speed, and anti-clockwise to decrease it. So that's the first one of the 3 adjusting screws. Clockwise increases the speed, anti-clockwise to decrease. And basically the hole at the top above the letter L gives you direct access with the screwdriver supplied to the idle speed screw. Slightly deeper in the machine, you will see down here 2 further screws. By pushing the screwdriver through the hole marked L, or the low, it will give you access to the low speed mixture, and by going through the other hole, it will give you access to the high speed mixture, which is the one towards the back of the chainsaw. We'll talk about how to adjust these screws next. With either of these screws, if you turn it clockwise, only use about a quarter turn at a time, but clockwise weakens the mixture, so less fuel to air, and if you turn it anti-clockwise, it will allow more fuel for a certain volume of air. So anti-clockwise to strengthen the mixture, clockwise to weaken the mixture. So now that we know where the idle speed screw is, the low speed mixture and the high speed mixture screws, we'll take the chainsaw outside, start it up and show you a few different scenarios and what you would do in different situations depending on how your chainsaw was performing. So here we are outside, and I'm going to demonstrate how it should work when it's running correctly. Now the chainsaw is warm, I'll make sure the brake is on and I'll just start it up. What I'm going to do is make sure that when I turn the brake off that the chain isn't revolving at idle, and that tells me that I haven't got my tick over speed too high. And then I'm going to rev it up, and it should rev up freely to its maximum revs, and I do expect to see a slight amount of smoke while I'm revving it. That would suggest that it is slightly rich, which is what I'm looking for when there's no load on the chain. So brake on, switch on, I know it's warm. Brake off. Perfect. Rev it up. Let it tick over for a couple of seconds before switching off. And switch on. As you can see, it started very easily, revved up very easily. The chain wasn't rotating when I switched the brake off, which is good. The idle speed is correct. And there was a slight amount of smoke when I was revving it at high speed. That suggests slightly rich when it's on the high speed range, which is a good thing. When I put it under load, it won't be running rich. Better to be slightly rich on the high speed when there's no load on it. So this would be a chainsaw that's operating as it should. Now I'll show you a scenario of one when it's got a problem. I'll do a few adjustments on this to simulate the problem and then show you how to correct it. So my first scenario is this. The chainsaw starts okay and will tick over okay. When you pull the throttle, it hesitates or bogs down and stalls. That's quite a common one, so we'll go for this. So I'll just start it up again. You can see it ticks over okay. When I go to rev it actually stalled immediately out. We'll just do that again. No, the second I pull the throttle, it stalls out. Now this scenario, I would need to unscrew the low mixture. So I'll just put my screwdriver in through the hole and I'll start with a quarter turn. Sometimes you'll find when you pull the throttle it'll hesitate, it'll sort of and then go off and it'll have no power at all when you actually try to cut, even though the blade, and it does rev up and the blade is spinning at its full speed. This scenario that you actually had, as you saw, when I pulled the trigger, it actually stalled completely out. So that's the low speed was too weak. I've unscrewed it, quarter of a turn for now, we'll try that again. Okay, I did a quarter turn to start with, tried it, it was a little bit hesitant, I could hear it, and I went another eighth of a turn anti-clockwise out with the screw, the L screw, which is the low speed mixture, just strengthened it up a little bit and it's cured the problem. Now I'll just double check that. Okay, that's absolutely fine. So that was the first scenario. The second scenario is if your idle speed is too high or too low. What I'll do is unscrew the idle speed screw here somewhere. There we are. Maybe half a turn. That should slow the tick over down. And you'll find you start it up and you put it, your chainsaw down while you're moving a piece of wood, something like that, and it stalls out. So we'll show you that. So I'll start it up. Let's just see if I've done it enough. Okay, I'll do it again. Start it up and you'll find it'll tick over a few seconds. When you're revving it up and what have you, it revs up fine. When you let go of the throttle, it'll stall out. So this is the second scenario. Just ticking over. As you can see, it's right on the point of stalling. I'll just do a little bit more. As you saw, I got to the point where it stalled out. We'll just try that one more time. It's a good one, this. It doesn't want to stall. There we are. It stalled eventually. So again, that's an annoying thing when the chainsaw stalls when you put it down. You want it to keep ticking over. When that is the case, you go in the idle speed, screwdriver in the slot, I'll screw it in half a turn. Let's see what our idle speed is like. cured the problem of the chainsaw stalling out when you don't pull the throttle. So, we've looked at when it's gutless, when you pull from a standstill, would be unscrewing the low, and when it stalls out all the time would be screwing in on the idle speed. So the third screw, or third scenario, would be that there's no power at high speed. Again, I can simulate this. I'll just screw in the high speed by half a turn. We'll see what we get from that. As you can see now, there is no smoke. Running a little lead. Up with a high. Time for smoke now. A little bit more. A little wrench, you can hear it in revving and freely. Okay, as you saw, when it becomes gutless, I unscrewed it quite a bit, it becomes very slow to go when you're on the high speed. So I gradually screwed it back in until it got to the point where it's revving correctly, and I can see a slight amount of exhaust smoke, suggesting it's a little bit rich, which is perfect when there's no load on it. So those are the three adjustments of the carburetor: the low speed mixture, the high speed mixture, and the takeover speed. Whenever you adjust any one of these, it can have a knock-on effect on one or the other. So if you adjust the low speed, you may need to go back and adjust the idle, or the low speed mixture, you may have to adjust the idle after having adjusted it. If you adjust the idle, you may have to adjust the other two mixtures very slightly. But we're talking quarter-eighths turns with the screwdriver can make quite a world of difference. Well, I do hope you found this demonstration useful. I've been Adrian, and for more information on this or any of our other products, simply visit www.position1powerequipment.co.uk.